I wonder how many of you guys can relate to this. That moment when you first understand narcissistic abuse, right? Now, I know you can all relate to that, okay? That moment when you're like, oh my goodness, there's a whole world out there of people that get what I'm going through. There are names for what's going on. People understand. So there's that part, right? But I wasn't talking about that moment. I'm talking about the moment when, after that all sinks in, and maybe you're out of that relationship now and you're trying to recreate your life and you realize that that wasn't the first narcissist in your life. In fact, you realize just how far back it goes. And you start to uncover the fact that maybe the happy family life that you thought you had, or the halfway healthy family that you thought you had, aren't so halfway healthy. So you realize that it goes back to childhood. And then you start looking at your friends and the relationships that you have, and you realize that they're really one sided, where you always seem to have the same role, the role of the one that gives, the role of the one that does everything to make everyone else happy. And you start realizing that there isn't really a lot of reciprocity in your life. That moment when you're like, whoa, this crazy relationship that I just got out of, that I've been so hyper focused on getting free of, is only the last of that kind of relationship. This has been in my life. That can be a really, really overwhelming moment because it's almost like reality of things that you thought were okay and you realize were toxic comes crashing down in front of you. And it's at that moment when you start seeing patterns in your life, patterns of the types of relationships you have, patterns of one-sidedness, patterns of being the one that gives and gives and never receives. And that's when you realize that it's not about getting people out of your life. I mean, that's a part of it. A part of healing and recovery is detoxing from things that keep you from healing. So that's understandable. But there's that moment when you realize that now that you've done that, now it's about rebuilding what was torn down or what was never given a chance to be built in the first place if the narcissistic abuse goes all the way back to childhood. And it can be really overwhelming. And when you get to this place, we'll call that place a choice point. There is a choice that each and every one of us has to make. We have to be willing to look at the pattern and realize what's inside of us that keeps the pattern alive. Or we ignore that part and we think we're fine because we just detoxed, right? We got everyone toxic out of our life. And so we don't have to do any more recovery because we're free of all toxic people and we're just going to keep going on. That's a choice point. We can do the inner work or we can just try to close the door and move forward. So I'm just going to mention a couple of things about both aspects. What I've noticed about people that wind up trying to just close that door and move on, which is understandable. You just want to start living your life. If the inner work isn't done, your wounds have a way of pushing themselves in front of you and demanding your attention. And we tend to find circumstances, people, or our own inner thoughts can keep the old pattern alive. And somehow we'll still stay stuck in the patterns of what we were in with the narcissistic relationship. I've seen people do that and move forward and just go on to the next person only to find the similar pattern again. I've seen people maybe completely leave all toxic people and find that their thoughts refuse to change and the abuser is now internalized and in their mind. And they could be free of the toxic people and they still can't do the things they love and they still can't create the life that they want because trauma doesn't let you. It demands your attention. Now, the other side of the coin is doing the inner work, but that can be really hard and uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie, I wish I could say, yes, take that path because it's easy and it's fun and it's amazing. It is amazing, but you do have to endure the discomfort of looking at your own inner wounds. It's not easy. It's challenging, but it is so rewarding. And so what I wanted to do with this video was let you guys know that this month in the Thriver School of Transformation, I'm talking about what narcissistic abuse recovery looks like. And I wanted to do that because I get so many comments on my YouTube channel as well as emails of people saying, Michele, I get it, I get it, I get it. I see it, I can explain it, I can teach it, but I can't get unstuck. What do I have to do to get unstuck? And I want to kind of explain it and share it and let you guys know the pieces of the puzzle that I put together for my own healing journey so that you see what it looks like. So if you're tired of being stuck and you want to come check us out, want to see what the Thriver School of Transformation is about, remember that there's a 7-day free period. I'll leave the link there for you. There's a 7-day free period. And if you join now, the first few days of each month, I open it up to biofeedback scans. So if you want to see how your body is right now on a bioenergetic level and you want to get a biofeedback scan, they are free the first few days of the month. So if you really want to understand how to break the pattern of narcissistic abuse and of one-sided relationships and of never really feeling like you're able to be your best self, come check us out.